Welcome to Good Morning Canada. I'm Jocelyn Laidlaw in Calgary. Here's what's coming up on today's show. Looking to maximize your money? We help you find the cash savings hidden inside your home.
You can see some significant reductions in electricity costs or gas costs by doing what are called lifestyle things and very low cost things.
We'll show you simple ways to put money back in your wallet. A landlord-tenant battle in a BC mall heads to the Human Rights Tribunal.
And the people that are not having their leases renewed are being done so for business reason, not for racial discrimination reasons.
We'll tell you who's crying racism. Sorting out the confusion over fish.
I have some heart disease in my family, so that's kind of why we've started eating fish at a young age.
Do the health benefits outweigh the health risks? We've got new research. And the incredible lengths some employers are going to find new staff.
Yes, I am offering to pay the rent here.
That and much more coming up, but first, your headlines from CTV Newsnet. Do you bounce out of bed in the morning ready for a new work day, or maybe you just wish the job would go away? According to a new survey, lots of people don't like their jobs, but there are a few companies working hard to keep employees happy. CTV's John Hendricks now on the Manitoba company at the top of Canada's top employers.
If your job's making you feel a little stressed out, you're far from alone. According to a new Statistics Canada survey, 7.9% of Manitobans are feeling dissatisfied with their jobs.
Honestly? Well, yeah, everybody does from time to time.
We labor away for someone else and get paid for it reasonably well even. Is it satisfying? Sometimes.
The study found high numbers of dissatisfied people work evenings or do shift work. It also reveals high numbers of people in the sales and service industry are feeling unhappy. All of this adds up to workers feeling depressed and stressed out.
Feeling any stress at all at work?
Always.
Of course, coming to work isn't a grind for everyone.
Good afternoon, Ceridian Christine speaking.
Ceridian Canada's Christine Walker couldn't be happier with her job. She's celebrating her 5th anniversary next month.
Everybody works as a team. Everyone will help you out. It's a pleasure to come to work.
Apparently, many of Walker's fellow employees feel the same. The Human Resources Management Company was recently named as one of the best places to work in Canada. It made Maclean's magazine's top 100.
We pride ourselves on developing programs that in fact keep employees engaged and happy to come to work.
Ceridian says one of the secrets to their success is listening to employees. Stats Canada is a big believer in that as well. The survey found the most stressful jobs were ones where workers have little say in how they do their work. John Hendricks, CTV News, Winnipeg.
With more than 1 million Canadians, or about 1 in 12, unhappy with their jobs, research warns stress and depression are now major occupational health issues. A 2002 Canadian Community Health Survey, which focused on mental health and well-being, shows just over 6% of workers were not too satisfied with their jobs. Another 2% were not at all satisfied. The study suggests high proportions of men and women who work in sales, service, processing, manufacturing, or utilities were unhappy on the job, as were many men in administrative, financial, or clerical positions. Job stress, shift work, and low income are major contributors to job dissatisfaction. By now, you've heard lots about the worker shortage in booming Alberta, but it's not the only province struggling to fill vacant jobs. BC is also on the hunt for some hometown help. As CTV's Rob Brown reports, one business owner is offering up a side order of free housing to his next employee.
They're the signs of prosperous times. Stroll down the retail artery of Vancouver's Robson Street and you're surrounded by employment opportunities. Great news if you're looking for work, not so great if you're looking for workers.
I would deem it as a pre-crisis. If not, we're headed for a crisis.
C17, please.
No one knows that better than Ramesh Arora.
We really are feeling the crunch since the last about 7-8 months,
Arora owns a Subway restaurant in Squamish, but is having a heck of a time staffing it.
We cannot afford $25 an hour.
He blames a shortage of people and higher-paying construction jobs luring potential employees away.
This side here,
Aurora is so desperate, he's offering anyone willing to work for him $9 an hour to start.
It's a brand new place.
And this $600 a month suite, rent-free.
Yes, I am offering to pay the rent here.
These sort of employment inducements are not unheard of in BC. They've been offered in the community just up the highway from Squamish for years, and no wonder. A recent survey of Whistler restaurants found a labor shortage of 30%. But the Fraser Valley isn't far behind, so Ian Tostenson says Aurora's job offer could soon be a standard in certain parts of the province.
He's offering, what, free rent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you seeing much of that?
Starting to now, yeah. And, and that's not a bad thing for the industry, because the industry has traditionally been seen as, gee, I can't make a career there, or there's not enough benefits there. What this is actually doing is going to make us all better employers.
Maybe, but first Aurora has to find someone to employ. He's been running an ad in the local paper for 6 months now, but hasn't had a single phone call.
You want the combo?
The sandwich maker is hoping his offer of a job with a rent-free suite on the side will change that. Rob Brown, CTV News.
Many people from the Maritimes head west each year in search of jobs, and now one of the Maritimes' biggest employers has put out the Help Wanted sign thousands of kilometers away. The company is hoping to convince New Brunswickers to come home. CTV's Mike Cameron has more.
J.D. Irving has about 100 job openings in the Maritimes, and more to come.
There will be hundreds of our employees at operations today that are going to be retiring over the next 3 to 5 years, and so we're looking for that workforce of the future.
Recently, the company took the unusual step of holding recruitment sessions in Western Canada, looking primarily for tradespeople, Maritimers wanting to come home.
People who have an affinity for the region, they may have family that are here, that certainly is a draw. They're already aware of the great quality of life and the good cost of living when we compare to some other cities.
J.D. Irving Limited is among the first of the major employers in the Maritimes to go west looking for people. But others in the business community say they won't be the last.
Here you go, and bringing his Chesterfield home with him.
The St. John Board of Trade recently distributed a not-so-tongue-in-cheek magazine mock-up called Move East. Business leaders say recruiting by Irving will be just the start.
Well, I think all of the major employers are going to have to take the initiative to do some things on their own and work closely with the provincial government to bring folks back to the Maritimes.
The Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Training Center prepares tradesmen for jobs across the country, but there's no question where the graduates want to work.
I would say, yeah, but probably the majority of Maritimers or St. Johners that want to come back and go to work at the refineries or the LNG when the work comes, I think they'd be happy to come back.
Peter Ryan says most displaced Maritimers are looking for a steady paycheck and a guarantee of work that will last for years.
For the thousands of Canadians dreaming about a better life in southern Alberta, a reality check. A newcomer to Calgary says Easterners aren't getting all the facts about Alberta's booming economy. Pearl Thompson moved to Calgary from New Brunswick and says even government staff at East Coast employment centres told her there were lots of jobs in Alberta. Thompson says she arrived and found out they were right. There are lots of jobs, and she was able to find a good paying position quickly. But she's staying in a homeless shelter because there aren't enough affordable places to live.
I've checked Fort McMurray, I've checked Grand Prairie, Edmonton. It's all over Alberta. There's tons of jobs here, but you got nowhere to live when you get here.
Thompson wants to stay, but with winter approaching, may move to Saskatchewan or Manitoba, where housing is cheaper. New research on Alzheimer's reveals two worrying trends coming up: how ethnicity may be linked to dementia. Also, 2 Canadian universities shut down by Norwalk virus outbreaks. We'll show you some ways to avoid the viruses that cause colds, flu, and Norwalk. And cardiovascular disease is Canada's #1 killer. We check out a new Canadian study proving the promise of a new drug to lower cholesterol. That and more when Good Morning Canada returns. Welcome back. Cardiovascular disease is Canada's #1 killer. Bad cholesterol, or LDL cholesterol, can lead to heart disease and strokes. There are prescription drugs on the market to help lower cholesterol, but they don't always work. As CTV's Rochelle Lagasse explains, a new Canadian study may have found a solution.
Harold Murphy's keeping track of his health by getting regular cholesterol checks. Murphy has high cholesterol and high levels of LDL cholesterol, which is the kind that builds up in arteries and can cause heart attacks or strokes.
Cholesterol is something that you don't feel it. The first time you feel it is when you're in an ambulance.
Murphy's never had a heart attack, but his brother has had 4. Murphy worries he might be next. His doctor put him on the statin drug Lipitor, but after 6 months, he saw no real improvements. That's why Murphy's doctor decided to include him on a Canada-wide study involving this drug called ezetimibe or Ezetrol. More than 800 patients combined their regular statin drug with Ezetrol, and after 6 weeks, 80% had reached their LDL target.
Mine went from bad to good. It wasn't just an improvement, it was a total turnaround.
Tells us that we can offer them the added benefit of another medication that's going to reduce their risk of heart attack and stroke.
Murphy continues to use Ezetrol with his Lipitor, but the new drug's not covered by pharmacare and it costs $200 for 100 pills. That's enough for 3 months. Murphy says that's a small price that should be covered by the province.
If it's dropped 10 heart attacks and 8 strokes in a year, wouldn't that pay for the drug?
Before Ezetrol, Murphy was at a high risk of developing coronary heart disease. He says that's why he'll keep taking the drug, even if it means he has to pay. Rashad Agassi, CTV News, Winnipeg.
In other medical news, we're sorting out the confusion over fish. First, we hear it's good for us. Then studies come out warning about toxins in seafood, everything from PCBs to mercury. Now a study that comes up with some clear guidelines on what fish to eat and how often to eat it. CTV's Dana Levinson has more.
How often do you eat fish?
Eat fish 5 times a week.
At least once a week.
Probably, I'd say once or twice a week.
These fish fans have heard about the health risks of eating fish, but care more about the benefits. And a new study in the Journal of the American Medical Association says they're right. Dr. Dariush Mozaffarian, a researcher at the Harvard School of Public Health, reviewed hundreds of studies about fish and found that the benefits outweigh the risks.
If you eat a fish and it has some mercury in it, you might be getting less benefit from that fish than if it didn't have mercury in it. But the overall benefit is still positive.
The new findings confirm that fish is good for your heart. Mozaffarian says 1 or 2 servings per week was enough to reduce the risk of dying from a heart attack by about 35%. This means a lot to Kelly Labs, who says she has no doubt about the benefits of eating fish.
I actually have some heart disease in my family, so that's kind of why we've started eating fish at a young age.
Another concern for some is that PCBs and dioxins are also found in fish. PCBs, or polychlorinated biphenyls, are industrial chemicals. In very large doses, they can cause cancer, but it turns out the major source of PCBs and dioxins in our diet is not seafood. Over 90% are from other food sources, including meat, dairy, and veggies. In spite of all of this, pregnant women, nursing mothers, and young children are still advised to avoid shark, swordfish, golden bass, and king mackerel because of the high mercury content.
Now, if you don't like eating fish, the good news is the study looked at both eating fish and taking fish oil supplements and found benefits in both. Yet another Norwalk virus outbreak at a university in the Maritimes this week. Dozens of students and staff fell ill at St. Francis Xavier University in Nova Scotia, just a week after Norwalk made hundreds sick at Mount Allison University in New Brunswick. Health professionals say there are ways to avoid most of the viruses that cause colds, the flu, and Norwalk. And some believe new products on the market aimed at boosting our immune systems may be worth experimenting with. CTV's Nicole Carlin has the details.
Krista Martin is still recovering from a virus she caught last week. The university soccer player says almost everyone on her team was bit by the bug.
It was pretty bad. I was in bed pretty much all day and night.
Martin isn't alone. According to Statistics Canada, nearly 22 million school days are missed annually due to the common cold alone. The bad news is that such viruses are immune to modern-day medicine.
Once you've got it, you basically have to let it run its course. Treating the symptoms, ensuring proper hydration, proper nutrition are important.
That's why this pharmacist encourages his clients to take preventative measures. In addition to eating well and getting plenty of rest and exercise, Craig Meek says there are over-the-counter products like Cold-Effects and Echinacea that may help strengthen the immune system.
Now, there is limited evidence out there, but if there aren't any interactions with any medications or current illnesses they may have, then to try it is worth a try.
Most medical professionals say hand washing is the #1 way to stop the spread of germs.
So you wash your hands thoroughly with soap and water after you cough or sneeze, after using the bathroom, before eating or preparing meals. That'll go a long way to preventing a lot of infections.
Dr. Sarwell says vaccinations like the flu shot also play a big role in helping us stay healthy, but she warns it only safeguards against influenza and not other viruses like Norwalk. Sarwell says the other key to keeping our bodies in top form may involve changing the corporate mindset.
It's really a big part of today's society. You have to show up no matter what, and we really need to change that. If you're sick, you should stay home. Besides spreading it to other people, you can't really do your job properly if you're throwing up.
Krista Martin says she tries to lead a healthy lifestyle and doesn't get sick often. But in light of the illnesses that have been spreading through campuses in our region, she plans to be more vigilant about safeguarding against viruses.
The Canadian government is going after one of the country's biggest pharmaceutical firms for unpaid taxes. Revenue Canada sent a notice to Merck Frost in the first week of October. A report in La Presse newspaper says Ottawa wants to retrieve $2 billion in taxes from a portion of global profits made from Merck's popular drug Singulair. The asthma treatment was developed in Montreal, but Merck allegedly transferred part of the profits to Barbados. Merck says Revenue Canada's position is without merit. A researcher at the University of Western Ontario has been given a cash boost to finance clinical trials of his HIV/AIDS vaccine. A Korean company will put up $15 million to take Dr. Yong Kang's vaccine through Phase 1 and Phase 2 of its clinical trials. The Phase 1 trial will determine if the drug is safe to use on humans. Phase 2 will test it on real patients to see if it works. A researcher at Montreal's Children's Hospital has isolated a new gene linked to the most common form of hereditary blindness. The discovery was made possible by a Quebec family whose participation may mean a vaccine to save the sight of thousands. CTV's Anne Lewis reports.
4 of the 9 offspring in the Boucher family have poor sight. Their vision troubles started shortly after birth.
J'ai 4 degrés de champ de vision.
Fernand can see only a tiny 4% of his visual field.
To see your brothers and sister that is limited with that kind of handicap, it's very hard to live with.
The diagnosis is retinitis pigmentosa, the most common hereditary eye disease in babies. At the time, doctors said nothing could be done. 40 years later, it's a whole new game. This MUHC researcher followed the Boucher family for the past 5 years. Thanks to their participation, he has discovered the mutated gene which kills the photoreceptors in 1/4 of retinitis pigmentosa patients. He did it by looking in an unusual place.
We found the mutation that's not normally findable because we looked at the RNA, and normally we look in the DNA.
The discovery of the gene has led to a quick and inexpensive diagnostic test for this form of retinitis pigmentosa and made it probable that a vaccine can be developed. Animal studies have shown gene therapy can reverse blindness.
Next year, the first human clinical trial is starting, which inserts genes back under the retina in babies with this disease.
Ça pourrait même se rendre à notre vision.
The blind Bouchers may one day see, and more than 50,000 blind children and adults worldwide could potentially benefit from the discovery. The Bouchers are thrilled about their contribution to science.
I think it would be wonderful, a miracle.
Vaccine trials will start in Philadelphia next year. Dr. Konakup is hoping the following phase will be done at McGill University. Anne Lewis, CTV News.
For more information, visit the Foundation Fighting Blindness website at ffb.ca. It's debilitating, devastating, and there is no cure. Now, new research on Alzheimer's reveals 2 worrying trends. Some experts are predicting the disease is growing into an epidemic as the population ages. And as CTV's Dana Levinson reports, there's now a link between ethnic groups and dementia.
Old age is the single greatest risk factor for Alzheimer's disease, but new research shows lifestyle choices that lead to cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and hypertension may also play a role in Alzheimer's. That's because when a person has cardiovascular disease, the apolipoprotein is present in his or her system, and that protein increases the risk of dementia. And that in turn, as Dr. Jennifer Manley tells us, means certain ethnic groups are at greater risk.
Since we know that African Americans and Hispanics are more likely to suffer from those cardiovascular diseases, we worry that this may be putting these groups at higher risk for developing cognitive decline.
The Alzheimer's Association expects the rate of the disease to explode among minorities. It predicts by 2050, the number of Hispanics with Alzheimer's will grow more than 600%. And by 2030, the number of black people with Alzheimer's is expected to more than double. Adding to the problem, experts say minorities are less likely to seek out a diagnosis and may not have insurance or other resources.
Language barriers are huge because the very communication between a physician and a patient is so crucial.
The second finding of the research is that the future looks grim for older people, says Dr. John Morris of the Alzheimer's Association, and that is because the population is aging.
I see a huge problem. I actually call Alzheimer's disease the coming epidemic.
Alzheimer's most often occurs in people over 65. The Alzheimer's Society, through its many branches, is working with community groups and communities to raise awareness about dementia. Even though there is no cure for Alzheimer's, there are medications that can help some with the symptoms. For Lifetime, I'm Dana Levinson.
Next, your morning headlines from CTV Newsnet. And having a battle with the drain, putting the most popular drain decloggers to the test, we've got the results. And accusations of racism at a BC mall, 3 tenants being turfed out. Is it because of the color of their skin? The landlord responds. We'll have that and more when Good Morning Canada returns. A dispute between a landlord and tenants at a BC shopping mall is turning ugly. The owners have refused to renew the leases of 3 long-term tenants, all of them white. The business owners say they're being discriminated against because they're not Asian. As CTV's Janet Dirks reports, the case may soon end up in front of a human rights tribunal.
In this Langley strip mall, the R word is being bandied about, but it's not R as in retail, it's racism. This after the leases of 3 long-term tenants were not renewed by the mall's new owners. Today, the owners of West Willow Shopping Centre finally spoke out through the spokesperson.
We're not getting rid of the whites or any other race. It's already intercultural, and the people that are not having their leases renewed are being done so for business reason, not for racial discrimination reasons.
But discrimination is exactly what the 3 tenants allege, and they've filed a complaint with the BC Human Rights Tribunal to that effect. They say the mall wants to cater to a strictly Asian clientele after securing H Mart, a Korean grocery store, as the flagship store.
It's the pattern. It's three of us. There were 3 Caucasian people that had their leases come up, and 1, 2, 3, we're all out of here.
John Pook's family insurance company has operated from the mall for 25 years. He'll now be moving the business to another location.
So you're going to have your roots done and a cut.
Hairdresser Rose Farrell has been here for a decade.
I'm almost 60 years old. I've got to start over again. That's not fair.
I can think of no other reason but discrimination.
Lynn Wallace will be moving her framing business after 24 years in this space. She says she was willing to do almost anything to stay.
I'd be willing to hire a Korean girl full-time. I'd be willing to change all of my artwork over to Asian artwork. I would take an increase in rent.
While the mall owners insist charges of discrimination are ludicrous, there's already talk of a customer boycott.
Since I've heard of this, I haven't even come near this mall.
Janet Dirks, CTV News, Langley.
Everyone is looking to maximize their money these days by increasing income and building family wealth. But there's no need to become a miser or deprive yourself of every little luxury. As CTV's Chris Day reports, there might be money hidden in your home that could bolster your bottom line.
Buying a home is likely the most expensive purchase you will ever make. Running one is also a costly proposition. The average Canadian household pays nearly $3,000 a year to heat and cool a home, run appliances, get hot water, turn on the lights, and so on. Well, get ready to save.
You can see some significant reductions in electricity costs or gas costs by doing what are called lifestyle things and very low-cost things.
Andrew Cole is Hydro Ottawa's conservation go-to guy, and he practices what he preaches at work in his own home.
I mean, this is a compact fluorescent light, so it uses 3/4 less electricity to provide the light that we need for up here.
He says installing 10 of those little bulbs can net you savings of $60 a year. His programmable thermostat also reaps him big savings. The Cole family never blasts hot or cold air and adjusts it before heading out.
So when we're not in the house, it's not too hot, it's not too cold. It depends on the season.
Cole says fans can keep you cool much more cheaply than an air conditioner. A low-flow shower head will cut your hot water bill, and hydro savings, he says, are just a press of a dishwasher button away.
We're not using any electricity to actually dry the dishes. It's an air blower instead of a heating element.
Cole says a $7 tube of caulking to make your home airtight can keep you from heating the neighborhood and help cut your heating bills by up to 20%, especially in older homes.
Newer houses tend to be more tight, so older houses, anything that's over 20 years old, there's often a lot of opportunities. At a house that's 50 years old, usually it's a gold mine.
U.S.-based magazine Consumer Reports suggests you wash your clothes in cold water to cut costs by a third, set your computer to standby when not using it, and use 80% less power. Same savings, microwave versus oven, and still in the kitchen.
Instead of rinsing your dishes, let the dishwasher do the work. You can save about 20 gallons of water, as well as the energy needed to heat that water.
Setting the water heater to low will save you money, so too will owning the tank instead of renting it. To recap, here are some of the top income boosters when it comes to home energy. Running fans instead of your air conditioner can save you $225 a year. And making your home airtight can cut your heating and cooling costs dramatically, more than $200 a year for the average home. Our hot water tank tips will save you upwards of $160 a year, and that low-flow shower head will have you a wash and $140 more each year. Switch 10 incandescent bulbs to compact fluorescents and see $60 a year to do with what you want.
None of these ideas is overly expensive or time-consuming to implement, but they can add up to big savings. Following these tips will raise an average household's income by $1,085 every year. That's money in your pocket, not the power companies.
Coming up a little later, we'll look at how you can save on your transportation costs, tips on making your ride a little less pricey. Most of us have had to deal with a clogged drain at one time or another. You can use plungers, chemicals, or snakes to get things flowing again. Chemicals, of course, are the most popular declogging method, but they're also the most dangerous. CTV's Pat Foran checked out some of the best ways to beat the clog.
Clogged drains are messy business, and clearing them is big business. We spend up to $15 million a year on Drano, Liquid Plumber, and other chemical drain cleaners. Consumer Reports just tested cleaners, as well as plungers and other mechanical devices. Researchers clogged test drains with various problem substances, including fat, soap, hair, and toothpaste. The test showed that most of the chemical drain cleaners, even though they contained strong chemicals, weren't very effective. Even after half an hour, very little of the pipe had opened up. Crystal drain cleaners did better, but the chemicals in those are even more dangerous.
They're quite caustic. They produce a gas and a vapor, and the pipes themselves actually get hot.
Mechanical devices like this are much safer, and they can unplug your drain a lot faster. Top ratings go to a little device you hook up to a hose. It uses water pressure and works fast. It's the Drain King VIP1 for $16. Researchers also found this $9 master plunger is a good tool to have on hand. Its new accordion style is even more effective than its original design. And while this is not yet for sale here, check it out. It's a canister of compressed gas. You put it over the drain and release a burst of air. It can be reused up to 15 times. The CLR Power Plumber Pressurized Drain Opener Plunger Kit may be for sale here in the near future.
For more information, visit the Consumer Reports website. It's consumerreports.org. Next, from sharpening skates to running the club, a hockey GM who really worked his way to the top. And the unveiling of a new Canadian-made vehicle, why this crossover might have the edge on the competition. And a fuel-efficient car, of course, is good for the environment and the pocketbook. We'll show you a new line of green vehicles. That and more when Good Morning Canada returns. Everyone knows driving a fuel-efficient car is good for the environment. General Motors rolled through Ottawa this week, showcasing its line of environmentally friendly vehicles. But as CTV's Kate Eggins reports, there are challenges to buying green.
Low system demands.
It's a picture-worthy piece of technology. These environmentally friendly vehicles have one car company revved up about reducing greenhouse gas emissions.
They don't have to be something.
General Motors is on a cross-country tour showing off its fuel-efficient cars. Like this car, its engine deactivates half the cylinders during highway driving, saving consumers as much as 10% of their fuel use.
The battery is actually in the back.
There's been a lot of hype over hybrids, yet sales have been poor. The issue is affordability. Hybrids are hard on the pocketbook. GM officials say they can change that.
The Saturn Vue hybrid, which we have here today, is priced at a premium of only about $2,500 more than the regular Saturn Vue, whereas many other hybrids in the marketplace today can be at a premium of $5,000, $6,000.
When it comes to the next generation of environmentally friendly fuel mixes, availability is the issue. General Motors makes a car that runs on 85% ethanol. But try finding a gas station to sell it to you. Some government facilities have a supply, but it's not readily available to the public. In the United States, federal tax incentives have made it easier for about 1,000 gas stations to sell E85 fuel. This ethanol producer says the Canadian government needs to do more.
Sometimes the fuel solution is going to be less costly to the economy than the vehicle solution, and so that's what you would want to do then is put in place incentives for the fuel solution.
Ultimately, it's this fuel price that will influence buying green. Higher prices will be needed to get drivers thinking of alternatives. Kate Eggins, CTV News.
Meantime, Ford is hoping a new type of SUV will give it the boost it needs in the ongoing auto wars.
It's a great pleasure for me to be here today to launch the car.
It was a ceremonial rollout Tuesday, complete with a star-studded cast, including hockey great Wayne Gretzky. Ford is hoping to score big with the new Edge. It's a crossover utility vehicle, and industry watchers say CUVs will be more popular than SUVs within 2 years because they're more fuel efficient, and something Ford is counting on. And the struggling company lost $1.4 billion in the first half of this year and has laid off thousands of workers. CAW President Buzz Hargrove points the blame for struggling auto sales on closed markets in Asia.
I'll bet $1 million to a penny that if the consumers of Japan had an opportunity to buy this beautiful vehicle, who believes they wouldn't buy it? You're damn right they'll buy it.
The Edge retails for about $33,000 Canadian and will be in showrooms next month. Coming up a little later, movie news from Mose Persico. He meets the stars of The Prestige. Also, Calgary, the testing ground for a new high-tech camera that will make your movie experience totally terrifying. And a real zinger for a general manager in hockey. We'll have that story and a lot more still to come when Good Morning Canada returns. Welcome back. In the new age of hockey, most general managers come from backgrounds that include law or business. But for the Vancouver Canucks farm team in Winnipeg, that's not the case. As CTV's Lisa Bowes reports, their GM doesn't have a law degree, but he is a real zinger.
Meet Craig Heisinger, or Zinger. He's the GM and VP of hockey operations for the Manitoba Moose. He's known for his one-liners.
Nelson, they'd shoot you, but they're trying to find somebody doing something.
And his unique background. You see, before he became a general manager, Zinger was the equipment manager for the Moose. And before that, the Winnipeg Jets. He established himself as one of the best in the NHL, known for his sewing ability and attention to detail. So how did he get from the back row to front and center? Anaheim's Randy Carlyle, a former Jet and then later GM with the Moose, hired Zinger to be his assistant GM.
I just felt with the talent and the work ethic that he displayed that he was wasting his time in that position.
I loved being an equipment guy. You know, I could have survived probably the rest of my life doing that. It was him that kept telling me, you don't want to hang jocks for the rest of your life.
When Carlyle left for the NHL, Zinger was promoted to GM. It wasn't an easy transition.
I could tell you exactly what happened every minute of every game from the bench, which most people would think is a difficult angle to watch from. But when I went to the press box or in the stands, the game seemed very slow. It was hard to tell, you know, what was happening, what the emotion was in the game. It probably took me 2 years to get some sort of an adjustment for that.
But since then, he's worked hard at player evaluation.
And with Joe and Kinger not coming back, I mean, you'll get a legitimate look. The Grabner's still there, so that he'd be going to junior.
And just like he did as a trainer, he makes sure everyone is looked after, from booking facilities.
We need Friday, Saturday ice.
To finding a player somewhere to live.
There's a whole bunch of updated rental properties and stuff.
Zinger even helped design the MTS Center, so this equipment room is the envy of the league. And his past plays a part in his decision-making. Former Moose and Jet Scott Arniel is Manitoba's new head coach.
Some of the players that he's brought in here that were free agents that have gone on to sign contracts with the Canucks, a Burrows, a Rippon, these are good examples of guys that Zinger has found.
So now when he liaises with Vancouver's front office, there's a comfort level and vice versa.
He knows a lot more about the pro game than people ever give him credit for. He's an individual that I use a great deal, not just for players from Manitoba, but I like his opinion on players that we look to bring into Vancouver as well.
I don't have the ability or probably the personality to demand respect. I try to earn it every day.
From looking after the players to deciding their futures, Zinger has created a new career choice for other equipment managers. He's proven that it can be done and done successfully. This will be his 5th season as GM and VP of hockey operations, and last year he signed a contract extension through to 2008. Lisa Bose, CTV Sports, Winnipeg.
100,000 reasons to play the piano. Coming up, we stop in at an international competition where the best and the brightest are tinkling the ivories. And a 3D movie experience like never before. How a Calgary shot horror flick really jumps off the screen. We visit the set when Good Morning Canada returns. Coming up on Good Morning Canada, trimming your car costs.
Check them often and you will save 5 to 10% of your transportation costs.
Practical advice that'll put a little more cash in your wallet.
He sent me here to steal your secrets, but I've actually come to offer you his.
Hollywood waves its magic wand over another tale. We catch up with the stars of The Prestige and find out what's behind the trend of movies based on magic. A whole new way to look at Canada's poorest neighborhood.
It's a beautiful thing, it's turning out to see life again clean, it's cool.
A unique way to see beyond the crime and drug addiction on Vancouver's downtown east side. And a 3D movie experience like never before.
It's the first high-definition stereoscopic camera that utilizes uncompressed HD.
We're on the set of a high-tech horror flick that'll put you right in the middle of the terrifying action. First, your latest news from CTV Newsnet. Vancouver may hold the nickname Hollywood North, but Calgary is quickly becoming a hotspot for major film production in Canada. One movie being shot in southern Alberta is the first to be filmed with a remarkable new camera, guaranteed to give moviegoers a heightened experience. CTV's Kirk Hoyser reports from the set.
It doesn't look like a regular movie camera because it isn't. It's actually 2 cameras.
It's an NHK
It's high-definition 3D camera, first of its kind, 24p. It's the first high-definition stereoscopic camera that utilizes uncompressed HD.
Now, if you aren't well versed in techno speak, what this all means is the picture is phenomenally clear and it makes for a 3D movie experience like never before. We can't replicate it with our camera or your TV, but the movie's producer says audiences in a real D theater will be amazed.
They're going to see a totally encompassing experience that envelops the audience and makes them feel like they're in the house with the killer. They're in the house with the heroine. They're getting the blood splattered on them.
Because it's a 3D camera, I'm doing this a lot more. Hello!
Christopher Titus stars in Scar. He has plenty of experience working with new technology on set, and he says the camera isn't stealing the show.
Like my show Titus, we were the first people to use HD in a sitcom, and now that we're using this in a movie, I think that the key to it is to make it seamless. There's no point in doing it if it's going to be a lot more hassle.
Because the axis will change when it pans around.
But it does have its challenges. The camera replicates the work of two eyes and the brain. That means a lot more moving parts, making it much more delicate than a normal camera. And it's sensitive to moisture.
We've had snow, we've had rain, we've had, all sorts of weather here in Calgary. So, there's been some testing of the system. So far, it's stood up pretty well.
The producers tell us the camera is priceless because it is one of a kind. But for production purposes, it has been insured at well over $1 million.
All right, we'll cut on the zinc.
And Kirk Heuser joins us now from the set of Scar. Kirk, tell us a little more about how the technology in this camera works.
Well, it works just like a human set of eyes, Jocelyn. Traditionally, movies are shot with one camera with one lens. 3D movies are shot with two cameras with two lenses. And so if you put your finger out in front of your face and you can see one finger and you bring it in a little bit closer, suddenly you can see two fingers. And that's because your right eye sees one image, your left eye sees another image. Well, that's what a 3D camera does. It captures both of those images, and if you go to the theater and you don't have the special glasses on, you kind of see shadows and offset images. When you put the glasses on, they come together, and that's what gives it the depth as well. Now, what's great about this new technology that they're using here is, first of all, it's HD and it's digital, which means that you're going to see phenomenally crisp and clear pictures. As well, you're going to be able to see contrast like you've never seen before. It is a horror flick, so when there are the night scenes, you're going to be able to see different levels of blackness. If you're in a room and there's a closet behind a star, usually it gets washed away and it's just a black hole. Now you'll even be able to see dark suits hanging in that closet. But what's really incredible about this camera is that they can change the interocular distance. That's the distance between eyes or the distance between cameras. On a traditional 3D camera, they've been limited in what they could do. And so when people say they go to a traditional 3D movie and the image seems to leap off the screen, it's because images 5 to 10 feet in front of you or in front of the camera are the ones that are in that 3D. It's still on a flat background, a flat foreground. With this camera, because the way it's set up, it actually has the lenses able to come very close together, and what that does is it adds depth to the 3D experience. You can have 3D very, very close up as well as far back, and that is what really gives you that effect of being in the room.
So, Kirk, why did producers choose Calgary as the first place to use it?
Well, I don't know if you can see the police vehicle behind me, but a lot of the vehicles that you'll see around here, they have Colorado license plates on it. This movie takes place in Colorado, and if you can't film in Colorado, well, Calgary's about the next best place.
Next best thing.
But also talking to the producers, they say Calgary they have the equipment and they have the crews that you need. A lot of the locations that they were looking in the States, they didn't have the equipment rentals from lighting right up to the honey wagons and craft services that Calgary does.
Okay, Kirk, we only have a few seconds left. Where can we see this movie?
Well, if you want to see the full technological effect when this movie comes out late next summer or early fall, you're going to have to go to what they call a Real D Theater. Now, if you live in Ontario, there's 3 of them. There's one in Montreal as well. Here in Western Canada, if we want to go get the full experience, we're probably going to have to go to Seattle. It will be released in the 2D format, but there are only about 700 of those Real D Theaters all across North America.
All right. Thanks very much, Kirk. And I understand if we look very closely, you'll see a very certain special news crew in the finished product of this movie.
It was a real stretch for Jim Moole and I. He played a cameraman, I played a reporter.
Your movie debut. Love it, Kirk. Thanks so much. For the next few weeks, Calgarians are in for a musical treat. The city is hosting one of the world's most prestigious piano competitions. 21 of the most talented young musicians on the planet are vying for the top prize. CTV's Bill McFarland reports.
This young piano student isn't in the Honens competition, but he could be someday. He's getting some tips on technique from James Parker, head of piano studies at the University of Toronto. The Honens piano competition begins each day with a masterclass free and open to the public.
Students from across the province have applied to learn from the esteemed members of the Honens jury, and the jurors are all concert artists themselves.
This is the Olympics of piano competitions. 150 pianists applied to take part in the competition. Early elimination rounds narrowed the field.
It's a real sweep from 150 down to 21, but it really makes us find the best pianists in the world.
Meet 23-year-old Tanya Gabrielian. She's one of the 21 competitors. When she's not enjoying a cup of tea, this American citizen living and studying music in London, England, is usually practicing.
I think it's like a job. I mean, people work, 9 to 5 easily. I don't see why practicing should be any different. It really depends on what you have coming up, how stressed you are.
Tanya says the trampoline is an excellent stress reliever. She coaxes me onto the contraption to see what she means. She's relaxed, now I'm tense. But then it's back to business for us both. She rehearses the Weber Sonata in D minor. No one else is playing this piece in the competition.
I like playing obscure pieces that nobody else plays, that they ignore.
From the sublime to the ridiculous, Tanya also enjoys playing simple duets with news reporters. But most of all, she enjoys performing for what she is hoping will be a packed hall. Bill McFarland, CTV News, Calgary.
For more information on the competition, you can visit the Honens website. It's honens.ca. Straight ahead, we have a look at who's on top of the music charts. Also, an unlikely Canadian culprit takes credit for the breakup of Paul McCartney's marriage.
A real magician tries to invent something new.
And another magical movie hits the big screen. We meet the stars of The Prestige when Good Morning Canada returns. Welcome back. It's the mysterious story of two magicians whose intense rivalry leads them on a lifelong battle for supremacy. Full of obsession, deceit, and jealousy, The Prestige stars Hugh Jackman and Hollywood it girl turned spokesmodel Scarlett Johansson. Good Morning Canada's Mose Persico sat down with the stars to find out if the magic in the script translated to the screen.
Shoot me. Come on.
No, I can't
Do it! How'd you like that?
How do you do it?
Magic.
And so begins the tale involving two Victorian-era magicians who spark a powerful rivalry that builds into an escalating battle of tricks and an unquenchable thirst to uncover the other's trade secrets. The Prestige, a captivating suspense thriller directed by Christopher Nolan, reunites Michael Caine and Christian Bale of the Batman Returns franchise. Add Hugh Jackman to the mix, and the results are a very entertaining flick, which leaves you hanging on right to the very last frame.
What happened?
It was the greatest magic trick I've ever seen.
The film is like one giant magic trick.
It is.
Which
the script is the real trick of the movie.
That's right.
It's set in the world of magic, and actually, one of the cool things about it is you get to see how a lot of the tricks are done.
And you get to know what is in the psyche of these magicians. I mean, they're such lonely souls. They do everything alone because they're afraid people are going to steal their secrets.
Exactly.
What a life they lead.
There's a real price to pay, and particularly in this era, in the early 1900s, they were the rock stars, they were the movie stars of the day. The stakes were really high, and to be a great magician at the top of the game took great sacrifices. And that's a lot of what the movie's about. How much do you really want to be there? How much do you want to be at the top? But I did a lot of research into magicians, and I met a lot. And all of them talk about their teenage years basically being solitary, spending in front of a mirror practicing their tricks. It's an intensely private thing. Even if they become a double act later in life, for most of their, particularly upbringing, they're on their own.
This was built by a man who can actually do what magicians pretend to do. Real magic.
There's just certain scripts, you read a lot of them, but there's very few that really get their hooks into your brain, and this one certainly did. You know, also knowing that it was going to be Chris doing it, it was really perfect. And I just gravitated a lot to the character and just loved the excitement of the piece and the surprises within it and how much there was to play with inside of it. And it just doesn't really get better than that in terms of taking that leap of faith and saying you want in. So yeah, I contacted him, because I didn't know if he would be interested in me in anything other than Bruce Wayne, So contacted him and said, I really think I can nail this character, and I love the script, and he said, great.
And like a smart man, he brought you on board. Your grandfather was a magician?
Yeah, he was. He was a member of the Magic Circle in London. I never saw him perform, though.
Really? So what type of tricks did he do? Did you find out? Or?
He did all sorts of different things. I know that it was very centered around children's entertainment.
Now you're looking for the secret, but you won't find it. That's why there's a third act called The Prestige. This is the part with the twists and turns, where lives hang in the balance. Julie! Come on. And you see something shocking you've never seen before.
The thing is, they're amazing characters, so it's worth making a movie about them. And to have two of them, both of whom wind up as murderous, with an old guy like me making the tricks for them to kill each other. It's a good idea for a movie, I thought.
You're not an old guy. What keeps the magic of Sir Michael Caine going? Because we love you in everything that you do. You seem to have the knack of picking the right scripts, the right people to work with.
Well, that's what it's all about now, because I obviously don't work for a living anymore.
No.
I work because I want to, and so therefore it's very important what I do. Because eventually you're getting up at 6 o'clock one wet Monday morning and you've got 10 pages of dialogue. You don't want to do it with people you don't like in a movie you don't want to be in. So I have my own thing, which is from the Godfather. You've got to make me an offer I can't refuse, and it's got nothing to do with money.
No, of course.
It's to do with who I'm going to be with. And I was with Christian here, who I was with in Batman. Christopher Nolan, he directed Batman.
Yeah.
I'm with Hugh Jackman. I never met him before, and he's a great
Nice
guy now.
guy.
But I was his biggest fan from The Boy from Oz.
Yeah.
And then there's Scarlett Johansson, who everybody wants to be with. So
That's
that's
right.
okay.
A man with good taste. Listen, you keep well. Congratulations once again. We look forward to always sitting down next to you and tour Canada one day. Why don't you? Now that you're a knight.
I tell you what, I think the best film festival in the world is Toronto.
Oh, thank you.
I think it's the greatest film festival. All actors love Toronto.
No more secrets.
Secrets of my life.
Mosè Persico joins us now. Mosè, nice to see you once again, as always, my friend. First The Illusionist, now The Prestige. This is the second sort of magic-based movie out this year. What are the studios up to?
Yes, it seems that magicians are the flavor of the month, aren't they, Jocelyn? You know, this is something that's not new. Hollywood sometimes releases movies very similar to one another. We've seen it in the past with Troy, Brad Pitt, Orlando Bloom. That was followed by Alexander, starring the wonderful, what's his name, Colin
Farrell.
Such a bad movie, I forgot it. And it even happened in the animation world. Remember A Bug's Life, followed by Ants?
Sure.
And now open season now on video, and that's followed by the wonderful Ashton Kutcher film Over the Hedge or whatever. I often wondered why this happens, Jocelyn, and there's a theory in Hollywood that this is what happens. Movie studios are presented with hundreds, sometimes thousands of scripts submitted by screenwriters. The studio heads then hire college grads to read these scripts and put them in different piles. One yes, one no, one possible. What happens is these college grads, after completing their day, they go out bar hopping and talk about certain scripts that they read. Boom, a race ensues as to which studio is going to release the film
I
first.
see. So
That's what happens.
so-and-so's got a magic movie. We got to have
There
one
you
too.
go.
Okay,
It's
so
very
how
competitive.
does this movie compare then to The Illusionist? Because The Prestige packs lots of star power. Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale, Michael Caine, right?
Well, you know, Paul Giamatti, Ed Norton, Jessica Biel, the wonderful Rufus Sewell, not a too shabby cast either. A lot of similarities with this one, Jocelyn. Both are period pieces. Of course, The Illusionist set in turn of the century England. This one, turn of the century Vienna. Now this, The Illusionist is set in England. Wonderful storylines there, but The Illusionist is more of a love story. It involves Ed Norton falling in love with his childhood sweetheart, who's once again reunited with. She is now forced to marry this terrible prince, and a wonderful plot ensues. How can they thwart the possible marriage? Paul Giamatti plays this police chief who's caught in the middle of supporting his prince, and he also has this wonderful connection with Ed Norton's character because they both come from working class backgrounds. Wonderful similarities. There could be Oscar nominations for Paul Giamatti, and you know, Michael Caine in The Prestige was absolutely brilliant.
He can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned.
He
All right, Mose, as always, love the shirt.
Thank you. It's kind of a pleather black.
Well, I love it. We'll see you next week. Okay,
All right, take
bye,
care.
Mose.
Bye.
Actor Wesley Snipes has been indicted on 8 counts of tax fraud. The star of such movies as the Blade trilogy and White Men Can't Jump is accused of bilking the U.S. government out of $12 million by filing bogus returns and collecting tax refunds. But prosecutors also say the actor failed to file tax returns at all for 6 years. Prosecutors say Snipes hired 2 shady businessmen to prepare fraudulent returns, then gave them 20% kickbacks. If convicted, Snipes could face 16 years in prison. An unlikely culprit is taking a tongue-in-cheek credit for the breakup of Paul McCartney's marriage. Fisheries Minister Loyola Hearn says he and fellow Newfoundlander Danny Williams were there at a critical moment in the McCartneys' relationship. Sir Paul and his wife Heather visited Canada in the spring to observe the seal hunt and got in a vigorous debate with Newfoundland Premier Danny Williams on the merits of the hunt. Hearn says McCartney was reasonable, but his wife Heather, a vocal animal rights activist, was not as gracious. Hearn says McCartney saw a different woman that night, and that may have changed his view of her. Regardless, the McCartney split has turned especially vicious. Leaked divorce documents show Heather Mills is accusing the former Beatle of physically assaulting her during their 4-year marriage. McCartney denies the allegations. Justin Timberlake brings Sexy back to the top of the Billboard charts for yet another week. Let's take a listen to the Billboard Top 10.
Thinking I'm so wide and nerdy. Think I'm just too wide and nerdy. Think I'm just too wide and nerdy. It's just too little too late, a little too wrong, and I can't. About 24 inches is hollow, I let it hang. How about the ride and let the day here? If I just knew how to save life, where did I go wrong? Up front style, ready to attack now. Pulling the parking lot slow with the lockdown. Convicts got the whole thing packed. The BBC, the original breadwinner of DTP, and you the center of attention. That's just motherfucker don't know how to act. Yeah, girl, let me make up for the things you lack.
And here's a look now at the top 20 albums in Canada this week. Your life is literally riding on them, but how you pump up your tires may soon be changing. Coming up, an alternative to air, why it might save you money in the long run. And we've got other ways to cut down your car costs. Stay with us. Good Morning Canada returns after this short break and your morning headlines from CTV Newsnet. Earlier, we showed you ways to boost your family's disposable income by more than $1,000. Well, get your pencils out. CTV's Chris Day has another way to do the little things you need to free up some big-time cash by lowering your car costs.
CAA pegs the average cost of driving a vehicle at about $10,000 a year. Roughly 3/4 of that is made up of what the Automobile Association calls ownership costs, things like licensing and registration, taxes and depreciation. Those are largely fixed costs. But there is room to save on what CAA calls operating costs.
I figure they could save up to 1/4 of them.
CAA's Doug Mayhew says how you drive can help you save. He says start by slowing down.
Aggressive driving costs lives, it costs sanity, and it certainly costs money.
He says good driving habits, including driving the speed limit and not lurching from light to light, could save you 5% of your fuel costs. Mayhew also suggests you lighten the load in your trunk.
There's no sense carrying around weight in your car because every time you accelerate, you have to accelerate the junk in the trunk. So clean it out when you're not using it. Put the golf clubs in the day you're going to play golf, and put in the bags of whatever the day you're going to the cottage. The trunk as a storage compartment is a waste of fuel.
The type of fuel you put in your tank can also free up cash. Most cars don't need premium gas, so why pay a premium for it? Switching to regular unleaded will save the average motorist about $160 a year. Whatever the octane, gas isn't cheap. Air, though, is, and making sure you have the proper amount in your tires is money-wise.
Check them often, and you will save 5 to 10% of your transportation costs by having the correct amount of air as opposed to being way off.
A handful of Ottawa retailers, like this Canadian Tire location in Bell's Corners, now offers nitrogen tire inflation, saying because the molecules are bigger, tires will stay fully inflated longer, giving better fuel efficiency and longer tire life.
Filling your tire with nitrogen will most likely add 25% to your tire life. So if you're a driver that usually has to replace your tires every 4 years, you'll be looking at an extra year on top of that.
Nitrogen fill-ups cost $4 per tire. Those pushing them, though, peg what you'll save at about $275 a year.
For $16, you're going to get better tire wear, safer driving conditions, and you're not going to have the headaches of pulling over and having to refill your tires every couple of months because the tire pressure is going low.
CAA isn't ready to endorse the nitrogen alternative, but Mayhew offers one final income-building tip. Review your insurance policy once a year to see if it's still the best one for you.
You can save money on insurance, and the easiest way to do that is every year when the bill comes in the mail for the annual statement, get some quotes. You may be having great prices with the agent or broker you're with now. You may not. The only way to know is to phone around.
$160 if you switch from premium gas to regular, $150 if your tires are properly inflated, and potentially $275 if you go with nitrogen instead of air. Lightening the load and driving the speed limit, another $100 or so. Simple changes, but $685 that will stay in your pocket each year. More if you manage to find a deal on insurance. Give us 3 minutes and we'll chop your food budget.
I just think people don't necessarily take the time, but I think I'm proof that it definitely pays off.
Serving up thousands of more dollars for you and your family. Chris Day, CTV News.
And next week, we will look at how you can chop your family food budget. As you've just heard, nitrogen is an alternative to filling up your car tires with air. They're already being used in airplanes and racing cars. As CTV's Eleanor Kupsami tells us, nitrogen may save you a lot of money, but they come at a price.
As the weather dips down, your tires can lose pressure, and that means you could see fewer kilometers and more cash going to gas. But some say nitrogen could make a difference.
The advantage of nitrogen, it just does, you don't lose as much. And so therefore, your pressures stay consistent. Consistent air pressures just equate to, as I said, better fuel economy, but also enhanced safety.
And you can extend the life of your tires. Nitrogen is safe because it is inert. Supporters say oxygen molecules are smaller and seep through 3 to 4 times faster than nitrogen. A tire filled with air could lose 1.5 psi in less than a month, but with nitrogen, it could take 6 months or longer.
Anything that keeps your tires inflated for a longer period of time is a great idea for a motorist.
There may be a downside.
Nitrogen isn't readily available.
But if you are concerned,
if people were in a position where they couldn't find nitrogen, they can just put regular air in their tires and the vehicle will perform properly.
Fountain Tire locations on Pembina Highway and Portage Avenue offer nitrogen to their customers for $5 a tire. For 2 years, 2 West End Tire locations have offered nitrogen for $5 a tire, but will refill it for free if tires go flat. But remember,
we recommend certainly once a month checking your pressures. Obviously, every time your vehicle is serviced, that should be fact. You should be checking your air pressures.
the Canadian automotive industry has agreed to reduce greenhouse emissions by making changes to 2007 vehicles, including installing tire pressure monitoring systems to show when tires are getting low. But as soon as the temperature drops and tires barely lose pressure, the alarm goes off. So some dealerships in the city are also looking at getting nitrogen and encouraging customers to use it to get more consistent air pressure. Eleanor Koop-Sammy, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Speaking of saving money, the Canadian $5 bill is getting a security makeover from the Bank of Canada. The new bill will have upgraded security features designed to prevent counterfeiting. Most other bills have already been updated. Now it's the Five's turn, and the Bank of Canada wants you to know the difference between bogus bills and the real deal.
Trying to encourage people to learn about these key features, which include, on our new bill, a holographic stripe on the left side, a watermark in the middle of the bill, and a security thread on the right-hand side of the bill.
The new $5 bill will be released November 15th. The Bank of Canada says authorities seized almost $10 million in counterfeit money last year alone. What's the longest you've stayed in one job? Coming up, meet a devoted employee celebrating nearly 6 decades on the job. Also, an outrageous publicity stunt or vandalism on a storefront in BC. Why the company is courting controversy. And how a picture is worth 1,000 unexpected words about Canada's poorest neighborhood. A contest that shows more than the seedy side of one community. That and more after this short break. It's a simple concept. Hand out 200 disposable cameras to people in Canada's poorest, most drug-addicted neighborhood. It was point and shoot on the downtown east side of Vancouver. Now the film is in, and the pictures are having a remarkable effect on the community. CTV's David Kincaid has the story.
This is the stereotypical outsider's view of the downtown east side, a neighborhood of drugs, despair, and danger. But residents of the area say it is much more than that. It's also a neighborhood of family, friends, and community.
The theme this year was My Home and Friends.
The 4th annual Downtown East Side photo competition set out to celebrate some of the less visible aspects of Canada's poorest region. Of thousands of photographs that were submitted, 42 were selected for public recognition. This is the grand prize winner, entitled Kiss on the Steps, taken by 14-year-old Hannah Walker.
I knew it was going to be good. I didn't expect first prize.
This is Hannah and her sister's neighborhood. It has been since Hannah was a little girl. Living here was not circumstantial, it was a conscious decision.
I think that when families leave the inner city, we have more problems, and that families need to stay and help build better neighborhoods and communities, and that's what we're doing.
It's a neighborhood full of people with lives and hopes and dreams. And there's a lot of children in this neighborhood, and that's something I think that's often forgotten.
14-year-old Hannah's view of the downtown east side is quite different from 38-year-old Nydia's, the subject of another award-winning photograph.
This is the park, actually, when I was 15, where my addiction started. Actually, I grew up around the neighborhood and I started drugs.
Nydia has been drug-free for 6 months now. She was photographed in the park with her son by her husband, also a recovering drug addict.
It's a beautiful thing, you know, it's turning out to see life again clean. It's cool.
It is this sort of diversity, tragedy, success, and failure all combined that make this part of the Lower Mainland such a vibrant place to live.
I love the downtown east side. It's my home. I grew up there since I was a very little child, and I love it.
The calendar made up of the winning photographs will go on sale next week. David Kincaid, CTV News, Vancouver.
In Manitoba, the Salisbury House is a culinary institution. It's been around for 75 years and been enjoyed by many. Over the decades, employees have come and gone, all but one. As CTV's John Hendricks reports, one hard worker has been at the restaurant for 59 years, and he's still going strong.
Thank you. Could I just touch that up for you?
Tom Starr is a big believer in service with a smile.
I'll serve the pretty lady first.
Thank you.
He knows what to say and when to say it. Of course, he's had a lot of time to perfect his style.
He's been here long enough to own the place.
Just about. Starr's been on the job for 59 years. He got off the bus from Toulon looking for a meal. He found it and a job at the old bus terminal's Salisbury House.
I applied for the job. This is about 11 o'clock in the morning. By 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I was washing dishes.
From those sudsy beginnings, Starr's worked his way through almost every job at Sal's. He's scraped together meals in the kitchen and poured enough coffee to fill up a swimming pool.
I do it with a little bit of flair.
And that's why his regular customers love him.
Yeah, it's very nice. Very good to us when he comes in.
Yeah.
Treats us right.
We look forward to seeing him when we come home. You know, we're here often, and we're always looking forward to seeing him.
To customers, Tom Starr is like an old friend. To the staff, well, he's more like a legend.
When I first came here, I needed help with a lot of things, and he was always a person to ask. He never got grumpy at all.
If you're not prepared to work hard, forget the restaurant business. It's a tough business, but it's a rewarding business.
So rewarding, Tom Starr says he isn't ready to retire just yet.
There we go, folks.
He has more customers, more friends to help.
I'll have some coffee.
Sure. John Hendricks, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Now that is service. From a longtime worker to a longtime collector, many of us harbor secret passions for collecting things. Everything from classic cars to salt shakers or teacups. But as CTV's Brent Gilbert reports, a man in BC is on the cutting edge of an unusual collection.
The Consolidated Equipment and Supply Company of Burnaby.
We're a wholesale distributor of parts and accessories for chainsaws.
And Mike Akers knows his way around a chainsaw.
I started as a chainsaw mechanic. I started in 1954.
He's been fixing and selling them for more than 50 years.
I like to take them apart and put them together.
And in all those years, Mike has developed a passion for the saw that is, well, extraordinary.
In our warehouse, we're lucky we have an upstairs.
And it's jammed to the rafters with, you guessed it.
Well, I collect chainsaws and they say, never heard of that before.
They line every shelf.
Makes it very handy.
And clog the floor.
Well, I've lost count really, but I know there are over 500 saws here.
More than 500.
This is the Reed Prentice Timber Hog.
Some dating back to the 1940s.
And it took two real good men to lug this thing around in the woods.
From Russian saws.
It's called a druzhba.
That look like they're built from a bicycle.
This is a Hornet, a two-man Hornet.
To one of the first electric saws ever built.
There's the joke about running around in the woods looking for a currant bush to plug it into.
Many of these monsters help to literally carve out an economy in the BC wilderness. Giants that weighed nearly as much as the men who ran them.
Eye-opener for people when you explain to them that that was the chainsaw that their father or grandfather had to work with and there wasn't any alternative.
Saws like the Diston DA211 that took 2 men to run it.
This particular saw here was used all over the coast in BC. This is the Frontier chainsaw, model Mark 1.
Mike's got literally hundreds of saws waiting to be rebuilt and brought back to life.
We got work to do here for the next 10 years, I would think.
And as far as he's concerned...
No, you never have too many saws.
In Burnaby, Brent Gilbert, CTV News.
Students are often called the leaders of tomorrow. Now some future leaders have their hands on some future technology. One Winnipeg school board has just installed the fastest, most powerful fiber optic network of any school board in Canada. CTV's John Hendricks checked out the costs and the benefits.
Right, I'm writing a novel, you know?
The future has arrived at Winnipeg's Pembina Hills School Division. Its computers can only be described one way.
Oh, they're fast, they're great.
They're 850 times faster than the quickest high-speed internet connections in your home. It's all made possible thanks to these fiber optic cables dubbed dark fiber. It stretches 44 kilometers around the city, connecting every school in the division.
Kids won't be waiting to load files. Files load virtually instantaneously.
The dark fiber system costs roughly $3 million to install, but organizers say it's a little like purchasing a high-efficiency furnace. Already, the savings are starting to roll in.
Dark fiber allowed the division to switch over to its own internet-based phone system.
Now there's no maintenance costs, no hardware costs, basically. So we consolidate 1,800 phone lines down to about 150 outside lines. At $33 a phone line, you can see where the savings is.
Don Rees says when you factor that in and add other potential savings, the dark fiber system should pay for itself in as little as 3 years. John Hendricks, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Well, if you're feeling overwhelmed by the amount of data in our modern world, you're not alone. Now some help is on the way. An Ottawa company has developed a high-tech device designed to simplify your life. As CTV's Kate Eggins reports, new software speed reads, then gives you the gist of your electronic documents.
Our high-tech world and the amount of information we process daily can be overwhelming. We're inundated by emails, faxes, and reports. There are moments when you can feel like you're trying to absorb information as quickly as this. There are libraries worth of information in the digital world. Now an Ottawa software company says it has the answer to the electronic bombardment.
We've got a solution to data overload, and we've got solutions to what you'll have to do after that.
Lab makes speed read software. It takes an electronic document and gives you a summary. The length of time it takes depends on the document size. It gave a synopsis for this 20-pager within 20 seconds. Think of it as the electronic version of Cole's Notes.
Everybody does research, so we now have kits ready for high school students right up to the most sophisticated research institute.
Imagine if you could enter a library and within minutes someone brought you every book on your subject of interest. Lab's search engine does exactly that for electronic documents.
You've Googled, right? You put in something you're trying to find in Google, and what do? You get 1.7 million hits in 0.63 seconds. Well, that's great, but I'm not going to read 1.7 million of those, and how do I know which one is right? So the Lab product can actually provide you with an analysis of which of those documents are more or less relevant.
Now you can do that across 10 documents, 100 documents, 1,000 documents. We have gone to 100,000 documents where we did this.
That's thousands of electronic documents you won't have to search. Kate Eggins, CTV News.
Athletic wear maker Lululemon is well known for their clothing style and the unusual way they promote it. But earlier this week, the windows of one of the company's Vancouver stores turned up defaced with angry messages aimed at the ritzy retailer. As CTV's Brent Gilbert reports, things aren't always what they seem.
The staff at the Robson Street Lululemon store awoke to find some disturbing images on their windows.
I was completely taken aback.
And who wouldn't be?
Somebody sprays something on it.
Yeah. The windows were covered by slanderous slogans calling the athletic clothing chain corporate sellouts, hypocrites, and even a cult.
I disagree with the form that people like to express themselves, right, about it. It's not the way.
But who could have done such a thing?
I bet they want to know.
Young people that do those things.
Well, the staff know exactly who vandalized the store.
Our merchandiser did it.
That's right. Lululemon's own Eric Nelson.
They actually did this last night.
No way.
Yeah.
It seems hard to believe.
We are afraid that our window washer would come by and take it all off.
Because this is yet another bizarre Lululemon promotion.
The people in the store did that.
You sure?
Yeah.
Why?
That's a good question.
There are lots of misconstrued things about the company, and we just want to make a little fun with it.
The chain is no stranger to having fun with promotion. When the Robson Street store opened 4 years ago, they gave away free clothing to naked customers.
We're not the corporate sellouts that some people think we are.
That's just part of today's message, but did anyone get it?
What are they trying to do? Maybe remind us that sometimes we think things but we don't actually believe them? So reminding us to actually believe in the things that we believe in, perhaps?
Well, the jury's still out on that one. But you can be sure of one thing.
It caught my attention, certainly. It's ballsy, for lack of a better word. It really is.
In Vancouver,
I'm a little bit confused.
Brent Gilbert, CTV News.
If you'd like to contact us here at Good Morning Canada, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach us by mail at Good Morning Canada, care of CTV Calgary. The address is on your screen. Or you can email us at goodmorningcanada@ctv.ca or visit our website, calgary.ctv.ca, and follow the link. That's all our time. Thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful weekend. We leave you now with a look at Calgary's Heritage Park, a trip back in time, and I'll see you next time.